Welcome to the United States of America podcast, everybody. I hope that everyone is doing great out there today. We're going to give Anna a break. Anna has been working so hard and she's got so much work on her plate, and she needs a day off. I believe Shannon Bookie has kidnapped her and is making sure that she is not working. So hopefully she is lost in some of those beautiful places out there on Alaska. And I wanted to share a few things with you guys today, and then I thought we would take some questions if you guys have any. And just remember that our federation is just like the rest of our government. All of it is 100% voluntary. And so if you have some shekels you can throw Anna's way, I know that they really can use them. And so if you look at this ticker across the bottom, it's got Anna's Cash App and her Revolut handles, and also the address where you can send any checks or money orders. You can also send her prayers and love notes and, whatever else that you want to send her. I know that all that positive energy is something that she really can appreciate. And, it's good for her, just like it would be for anybody. Okay, so today I'd like to read, I'm remembering one of her articles, an example of evil. I think this is a good one, especially because we're so close to the banks going live. And I would like to just read this with you guys. So it says, in our circles, you will hear us say that I am done with evil, often with gusto and a dismissive hand gesture. There's a reason for this. We literally have had it with evil. We are done. We have made our choices. And no matter what wind blows, this is not a choice that can be made lightly. You have to get to a point of disgust where you just can't stand it anymore. You can't look yourself in the face, and you can't be deaf, dumb, and blind anymore. There's a magical moment when you realize that life, as precious as it is, isn't worth living in a world that is so polluted with evil. And then finally, you are set free. I'm trying to figure out how to navigate this page because on my side, it's not letting me. Oh, there we go. Here we go. I'm able to move it. Sorry, guys. Thank you for bearing with me. Evil comes into our lives in many ways and every day, and it tiptoes through the door and flies in through the windows we unwittingly grant it. Every single day we live, evil is, in fact, more familiar to us than good. Given the common ubiquitous nature of evil, one would expect that we are all equipped to recognize it for what it is and avoid it. But sadly, this is not the case. Instead, when we are confronted with new or threatening conditions, our tendency is to assume the worst and take refuge in evil, allowing our imaginations to romp through the endless field of negative suppositions, fears, dreads, triggers of anger and ego, protective damage control mechanisms that we've developed in our long everyday acquaintance with evil. At the precise moment when we are called upon to respond with love, we respond with evil instead because that is how we are programmed to react. Literally programmed, like a computer program. Actual combat with evil is always anti intuitive. Observe Yeshua on the cross. He didn't have to go there. He went to have it out with Satan, one on one, a knockdown drag out, no holds barred, winner take all fight. Satan won easily against Yeshua's mortal body, but he lost the eternal war. Yeshua won the crown of life, and all of Satan's powers were useless. All the power of imperial Rome, all the power of the Sanhedrin, and the power of the money changers, all the power of death itself is overthrown. Nothing about this battle made sense to people at the time. They were all expecting a different kind of battle and a different outcome. His own mother had to come to the foot of the cross and weep and be numb with grief. the object of public shame. His disciples and all who had followed him into Jerusalem just the week before were thrown into dismay, and they must have thought, well, this is how it all ends. Rome and the devil and the money changers win again. This is the way it is when confronted, when we confront evil. It's never easy. It's always anti-intuitive. Nothing about such combat makes common sense because the ways of God are not the ways of men. The very first bit of information decoded from our DNA and announced by Greg Braden to a numb and disbelieving world was, quote unquote, God eternal within the body. That's the first few DNA codes, say in 5 different ancient languages. Were any of us ready for that? Like, where is the mainstream media? God exists. He wrote the code of life. The entire story and template is recorded in each one of our cells. So, against this startling background, someone asks me, what is evil? How, they ask, can anyone declare that anyone else is evil? We've already been told. Evil reveals itself by its fruits. Lies cause confusion and wasted time and energy and loss of focus and loss of joy and goodwill. Gossip magnifies and spreads the impact of lies, doubt, faithlessness. It leads to lack of trust and unity so that we don't stand together against evil. And all of this adds up to lack of progress, loss of joy, and more of the same old for mankind. Rome, the devil, and the money changers win again. Yet we are not defeated by Satan. We are tricked into defeating ourselves. We lie, we pass the falsehoods of others. Knowingly or unknowingly, we indulge in fear mongering, and fear leads to anger. Anger leads to violence. Soon we are killing each other, and the actual perpetrators are making money on this. We are not always our best selves, and we don't always reliably recognize evil, even when it is staring us in the face. So, what can we do to gird gird ourselves for the daily battle? Well, number one, we can become more aware. We know that lies and gossip are evil by their very nature. So we stop ourselves from telling lies and from gossiping. We make the extra effort to research and know the truth. Number two, we likewise don't attack and name call even when others do. We observe facts and what others can observe so that they can see the truth that we have been blessed to see. We respect ourselves and others, and we don't resort to the weapons of our enemies. Number three, we don't make insinuations and seek to dishonestly or covertly influence others. Things that are underhanded and mean spirited, things that are divisive and destructive, things that are unkind. We do our best to avoid. We don't use quote unquote law to harm anyone. We know that true law harms nobody and nothing. So long as we don't injure others or harm their property, we have fulfilled man's law. And if we love others, even though those who hate us, we have fulfilled God's law. We realize that combating evil requires discernment and accept the often anti intuitive nature of the struggle. Often, what appears to be good is, in fact, evil, and vice versa. We know we can be deceived. We can ask our Creator for help to know the truth and hold it fast. Number six, we allow our hearts and minds to dwell in peace and with appreciation for all good things, for all that is harmonious, all that is kind, all that is generous, all that is healthy, all that is noble and best and alive. We make our mental and emotional home a fortress of integrity, goodwill, and strength. When we observe the fingerprints of evil in our lives and our homes and our work, confusion, spitefulness, selfishness, suspicion, greed, power mongering, controlling behavior, anger, excessiveness, insults, we stop buying into whatever narrative is causing this. We take control of it and of ourselves and decide to keep faith with what is good. We have suffered many setbacks this past year and many misunderstandings that have cost us time and money and peace. And all of these are unnecessary losses made possible by evil that we have allowed to enter into our lives and our thoughts. Remember that Yeshua on his cross fighting the ultimate battle against evil. Remember the strange anti-intuitive nature of that conflict. And most of all, remember that he won. It's the same way for us in our battle with evil. When we decide to act against it and organize all our forces to face it. I just really wanted to share this with you guys. I just realized it probably was so small. Sorry about that. I'm gonna go through the questions here and let's see what you guys think about this. Let's see how everybody's doing. Let's see here. All right, let me just start at the top. I'm just gonna go down the line. More 23 says, Anna said the prepaid credit will be here before the gold, as we don't have a timeline when the prepaid will be available. Can you elaborate on that and what can and cannot be bought with the prepaid credits? Anna didn't say this, so I'm not sure what you're talking about. What I know to be true is that vendors are going to be able to decide if they want to accept credit or if they want to accept gold. And when the banks are open, then you will be able to offer them prepaid credit or gold. But the vendor, wherever you're shopping, like let's just use, I don't know, I'm going to say the farmer's market. You're at the farmer's market and you want to pay, then whatever that farmer is interested in receiving as payment, be it gold or credit, they'll already have it set up in their system, and their system won't accept anything except for that gold or that credit. So you're not going to decide that. They are. Let's see here. Sandra's got a bunch of questions. Let's see. Number 1 of 3. I received this info today. They're committing fraud on the county record. They allow any LLC debt collector hop onto the county record as long as they have access to the mortgage electronic registration system. They then get a certified copy filed, a couple of UCC forms, have a notary sign it, seal it, record it, and they're trying to bill you if you don't accept. Then they foreclose, even though this is fraud. The sheriff's department backs it, and we put on notice to get help with indemnity bond process, the central banking, or the bank that holds your mortgage. I think you're trying to describe how they use the mortgage or how it's fraud on its face, whatever they're doing with the mortgage. I think that's what you're saying, Sandra. I don't really see a question. Oh, sorry. Number 4. Mortgage company or CEO of that bank franchise. Send for a declared Americans only article. I don't really understand your question, Sandra. I'm not like really trying to dismiss you, but you're saying a lot of things. I don't know if you're trying to tell us how the fraud is happening or you're reporting a crime. I'm not really clear on that. And after Anna declared the law of the land and the sheriffs were noticed, was there a response? Yeah, they stood down. At least here on North Carolina, that's what happened. Because during Helene, when the law of the land was invoked, and we actually were the ones who noticed, my husband and I and Dan paid for it, but we noticed our North Carolina governor. We had notices go out to the sheriffs in the western counties, and FEMA stood down. Ask somebody you know who is former military to describe to you what happened on North Carolina with FEMA and let them tell you, because FEMA is never going to stand down, but they did. So that was why. It was because of the notices. I think this doesn't work too. I get it. Qzilla. They're saying the number for the chemtrail reporting doesn't work. I mean, who are you going to report to, really? Like, isn't it funny? You're reporting it to the de facto. They're not going to stand down till we enforce it. So we just need to get our courts up. But, this is good. So, you know, there's when Anna and I were doing the 4th of July episode, then she told you that she was notified that day that we have more than 100 federal employees infiltrating our assemblies. And what did she say? She said, well, guess what? Those guys are, most of them are born on America. They're born on one of the 50 states, and they also have a birthright inheritance. They just don't even know. They don't know who they are, and they don't know who they're from. And this is the challenge. All of our assemblies are infiltrated by the feds, the federales, 100%. I mean, as evidenced by the fact that none of the assemblies are actually operating their own governments, actually. None of them. Why aren't they? It's because the people need to know who they are, where they're from, and that means they have to stand up against evil. It's the reason that I wanted to read this article, you guys. You know, look, there's a whole bunch of people out there that are really mad at me because I said that, you got to stop worshiping the money. You're so busy worshiping the money that you can't hear anything else that anybody's saying. But it's true. The only reason that you're mad at me is because it's true. And you know it's true. And you know it's true for you because it hit a nerve. Because I don't know you personally. And what I was saying was, generally speaking, on YouTube, which is talking to just anybody who turns a channel on. Okay. I don't know any of you like that. I'm not talking specifically to any somebody. We're talking generally to everybody, right? And it is true. Somebody got mad because I said, oh, when you're being polite, it's evil. Well, guess what? It is, because you're lying. You're lying because you think that you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. And if you're operating, in a situation where you are saying things just not to hurt someone's feelings, that means you're not being true to yourself because you don't want to hurt their feelings, right? Which is a lie, but we don't want to recognize that as a lie. I don't really get it. Look, this is hard for anybody to reconcile. I'm only telling you things that I know I had to reconcile also. Okay. It's not like any of us, Anna tells you she had to reconcile it. All of us had to at one point or another in our life decide that, that we're just done with it, right? Because it's tiptoeing around us all the time. But what is evil, y'all? What is it? It is a reflection of your fear. That's what it is. The universe reflects your emotion back at you. If you're operating in fear, then it says it right here. We lie, we pass falsehoods of others knowingly or unknowingly. We indulge in fear mongering, and fear leads to anger. Anger leads to violence. Soon we are killing. So look, what you got mad, you're getting tricked by Satan. We're not defeated by Satan. We're tricked into defeating ourselves. And you could just decide, I'm not going to lie anymore. I mean, do you still tell your kids about the tooth fairy or Christmas, like Santa Claus, or I don't know, Easter Bunny? Maybe you got past that. Okay. Maybe you've gotten past that. I know a lot of people who are like, oh, well, well, you're not Christian. Okay, guess what? All religions are corporate. So no, I'm not religious at all. I am 100% spiritual. And this is a spiritual war that we are operating in. And, look, we're not saying, hey, I'm so smart and you're so dumb, or we're so great and you're so not. We're sharing, hey, we had to do this. We had to allow our hearts and minds to dwell in peace and with appreciation for all good things, for all that is harmonious, all that is kind, all that is generous, all that is healthy, all that is noble and best and alive. And we have to make our mental and emotional home a fortress. You just have to decide. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to look at that. But look, there's a bunch of people out there who are lying about me every day, especially, in this, you know, assembly. There's a whole bunch of people who have told other people on social media platforms that they paid for my family vacation to Alaska. That's funny because my husband did. And also, nobody knew we were going to Alaska. So, who was going to fund it? And by the way, if you put money towards supposedly our trip, we didn't get it. So, somebody out there, aside from the British territorial and the Pappas municipal, there's somebody else impersonating me on top of that. So you should go get your money back from whoever that was that you gave it to. But like all these insinuations and seeking to dishonestly or covertly influence others, things that are underhanded and mean-spirited things that are divisive and destructive. My husband and works really really hard, and we actually have you know our progeny, they work, they saved money too. We as a family worked really hard to take our trip. Nobody's paid for that. In fact, nobody's ever paid me for anything. Like, I don't get to monetize this YouTube channel, this YouTube that we set up for Anna to serve the Federation. Um, I've been shadow banned since before I ever knew Anna. I was shadow banned for 16 years before I knew her. And I had a YouTube channel before that. So not monetized, not making any money. But what we're interested in is sharing the truth. What we're interested in is making sure everybody knows what's going on. And we have to, we just have to, part of admitting the truth is knowing that we are dealing with people who are federales in our assemblies, who also have a birthright inheritance and who might just be working against everybody in the assembly unconsciously, maybe. I don't know. But you might want to think about that, okay? And instead of operating in attacks against each other, you know what the divine solvent for evil is? The divine solvent for evil is love. So, right here it says, we allow our hearts and minds to dwell in peace and with appreciation for all good things. Why don't we all just start loving each other more? Why don't we all, to come? Look, it says, we realize that combating evil requires discernment and accept the often anti intuitive nature of the struggle. And you guys need to know, nature doesn't lie. If you go outside, you just immerse yourself in nature, ask a farmer. When a farmer gets up and goes outside and a coyote pack has come through and murdered all his chickens, and now he's got to go out there and deal with a bunch of dead chickens like strewn across the farm. These are the kind of people who I'm working with on a day-to-day basis in reality over here. So they don't get to sit around and cry and, boo-hoo about somebody who just killed all their chickens that they were hoping were going to be laying eggs for them. And, this is their livelihood, you guys. Not only have they been robbed of their livelihood and to be able to care and nourish other people who they love, but they have to go out there now, one guy or this family, they have to go out and they have to clean all this up. And you know what? Anna says you have to come with clean hands. They don't go out there crying about it. They just go out there and clean the pasture. Now they got to go clean up all these dead bodies. They got to go check the perimeter fence or figure out where these coyotes come from. And they just got to fix the problem. They don't have time to be cribbing and crying, right? And so it says, we have suffered many setbacks. I would argue we've been getting set back every year our whole lives up until now because we were lied to. So we need to come past all of that, right? We have to come back past that. So the only way to do that is to stop lying to yourself. Can you just love yourself a little bit more? Because that's really what we need, is we need people to love themselves. All right, let me see what's going on here in the questions. How's stuff looking with the banks? It's awesome. I mean, they're working hard as they can. They're working so hard, they need to take a break. We don't have a timeline. We work with volunteers. Thank you, Dorothea. Everything's going good. Everything's being advanced. I had an appointment with my orthodontics, and I'm supposed to be getting braces soon. And the expansion is working really well, and it's really helping. I can't wait to share with you guys all the health benefits one day so you can know how that works. Yep. Get ready, Dorothea. Even out there on Africa, it is crazy. Evil is everywhere. Nomadic Ministries. Anna said that the prepaid credit will be available before the AFD yesterday on her podcast. I didn't hear that. So, I mean, I didn't receive that message in that way. So we can ask her again next week. But as far as I know, the gold is already audited. So I don't know what you mean. I know the gold is audited. I know it's already accessible. I know that it's already there. The prepaid credit is, I thought, something the de facto has to agree to receive. So I'm not really sure about that. I think also that Anna says things and people interpret it different ways. So we should ask her for clarity. 100% we should do that. Indeed, black magic money spell. Yes. The etymology of the world magic magi. Yep. It's true. This is true. Karen, I don't know the number. It's just called an example of evil. Sorry, just look it up on her site by the name of it, okay? It's the fruits of the flesh and the desire of it. Yeah. Well, yeah, people don't want to accept the truth because you've been told you can't handle the truth, right? They noticed you in the movies. You can't handle the truth. And people believe it. It's true. Anna talks about the arrested development of people who are unable to actually, um, you know, develop fully into adulthood. And this was done intentionally and deliberately by the corporatocracy, but you would have to parent yourself out of that. And you can do it if you just decide. Mm-hmm. You need to know who you truly are and then know where God dwells and then the purpose. And yeah, I mean, you have to know who you are and where you're from. It's absolutely true. So, um, look, friends, I don't read scripts here. Okay. I am not paid by the de facto to read their scripts. And so I deliver the message from my heart, however it's feeling, based on the energy and the universal forces. So infinite intelligence speaks to me and through me to you. And you receive it however you receive it. And if you don't like it, then you probably need to figure that out for yourself. That's not my problem. And yeah, I'm just going to be honest and tell you that. The difference between me and everybody you're used to following on social media or media anywhere is they are scripted or they lie. And I don't do either one. Even our conversations between me and Anna that you guys witness here are just real exchanges between the two of us. So everything is just honest exchange. Okay. And so everybody can just figure that out for themselves. But whatever you're receiving is your reflection. So for as many people out there that receive my message and you don't like it, there's 10 times more, 100 times more that do, apparently. Otherwise, I would be slammed with negativity, and I'm not. Also, I can't care about you more than you care about yourself. So it is my encouragement for you to love yourself because you were born worthy beyond belief and you are important. And I believe that you are so important that I do all the things that I do for free out of the goodness of my heart. So you either like it or you don't like it, but I'm not seeking your agreement. I don't care. And there is great love here for you no matter what. And, look, my intention was for everyone who comes here to be able to receive straight answers from Anna. And that is what I do. And I won't stop and I won't shut up and I won't stop sharing the truth and I won't stop telling you the truth, whether you like it or not. So that's how I feel. And see, I'm glad, look, I don't need people to be cheerleaders, but love you guys. I really do. And I, you know, if you don't like it, go away. Nobody told you to come to this channel. Just that you could turn it off. I don't even know why you're here. So, Bob, yes, this resolves sleep apnea. It is a cranial infrastructural issue. And so, yeah, totally does resolve that. I think I still need to put Dr. M's information in, so I'll work on that. Thank you guys for all your prayers and your love and your support. And why don't we all write Anna some nice cards, send her a little love. If you can throw some shekels in there, do that. And otherwise, I think that she really, really, really could use some good cheerleading love. All right? I love you guys so much, and we will see you next Tuesday. Thank you.